Man United travel to Seville on Thursday, hoping to overcome the disappointment of that second half and win and go through to the Europa League semi-final against either Juventus or Sporting Lisbon. We're, 3 games away now from Ten Hag's second final in his first season in charge. He'll want that. Will Rashford be playing? Will Sabitzer be playing? Will Luke Shaw be playing? How do we replace Bruno Fernandes in that starting 11? Lots of questions to ask. I'm going to try and run through every single one of them in this starting 11 and preview and my prediction for the game. You let me know what you think in the comments below. And make sure you subscribe. But yeah, here's the two main men. Is it 2 main men? No, I suppose Mitchell van der Gag's one of the main men. But it's Eric. It's Steve. It's the boys. And I tell you what, speaking of boys, this is the best news we could have asked for, right? Ahead of the game, let's get rid of that. We've got Marcus Rashford. He is back in training. Not only is Marcus Rashford back in training, but Marcel Sabitzer is back in training. And you can see him at the front there. Luke Shaw is back in training as well. All 3 of them training at Carrington ahead of the trip to Seville. I think they're going to be flying out, I'm guessing today. I think Eric Ten Hag's press conference is this evening. There's Martial, a man who doesn't ever smile, really. Let's zoom in on that bad boy. Jeez. Bruno smiling, even the fact he's not playing in this game. I'm not sure how we were going to replace Bruno. I'll be honest, I don't think you can replace Bruno. In the same category as I don't think you can replace Casemiro. I don't think you can replace Eriksen, but you try. You see what you can do inside that squad. But let's take a look at the team that faced Forest at the weekend and whether or not we think we're going to be seeing any changes. I imagine we will be. Now, that game against Forest at the weekend was really, really comfortable, wasn't it? Really good performance. I was worried about how United would play without Varane, without Martinez, but we played pretty well. Maguire and Lindelof played pretty well. Maguire recovered from a shaky first 10 minutes. Dalot played really, really well, stepping in at left back, scored his first United goal in the Premier League. Surprised us all. Eriksen in midfield dominated with Bruno. There's so many positives we can take from that game, but there's definitely going to have to be changes. Of course, Bruno Fernandes is suspended, and that's a big, big miss. But one big positive, certainly, is the return of Luke Shaw to training. Do you think he comes straight back in this starting 11, or do you think that Eric Ten Hag will keep Diogo Dalot there? He really did impress in that sort of inverted left-back role. Of course, the inverted fullbacks mean instead of just going forward and going in a straight line and overlapping the wingers, which is the traditional way, the fullbacks kind of tuck inside. So when United go forward, you end up overloading this area of the pitch. You end up creating spaces in the half gaps. That's what the inverted fullbacks really do, and both of them did it well. Wan-Bissaka and Diogo Dalot. It's just whether or not you feel that it will be a risk to bring Luke Shaw back in. I kind of think he will. My instinct is telling me that Luke Shaw will come back in and actually play at left back rather than left centre back. Because against Forest, Maguire and Lindelof played as the 2 centre backs. They're not Man United's first choice. They're going to have to be for a few weeks. So I think this is where Ten Hag's going to put a little bit of trust and faith in them. I think he's going to play them for back-to-back games, and I think Luke Shaw will come in and start, and I think he'll do it in his natural position on the left-hand side. Takes a little bit less pressure away from Lindelof to progress the ball forward because he's got Luke Shaw there. Although Dalot did a good job of it, as I said. I might get that one wrong, but my instinct is telling me that Luke Shaw will come back in and play left back with both Maguire and Lindelof starting and keeping their spots. And then Wan-Bissaka, he's just been really... Wan-Bissaka has made me eat humble pie this season massively. I think that's the one I got most wrong, the call on him. Now, in midfield, of course, right, Casemiro starts. I mean, we don't have to talk about it. He's definitely going to start. I think he's looked a little bit, not shaky, but not as incredible and dominant as he has done in these last couple of weeks. I think it's almost like him missing a month of football has affected him. Lo and behold. Christian Eriksen would, of course, start as well. He was monumental against Forest. Just makes it look smooth. That's probably the best way to describe him, smooth. And we need that. And especially we need that because this man's missing. And you can't replace him in this 11. Bruno adds a different sort of energy. He just adds something that I don't think anybody else in this squad brings to this team. So the big question I think about this 11 is how do you replace Bruno Fernandes, right? You can let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you think we might see Eriksen? We can run through different options here. Do you think we might see Eriksen be pushed further up with Sabitzer playing in a deeper role? Or do you think the other way around? Do you think we'll see Sabitzer coming back into the team? Of course, he scored 4 goals in a couple of games. And then he got a slight injury, pulled out. He was going to start against Forest, but he pulled out with a niggle, but he's training. There are different options. I think we'll see this. Now, this might go down as I wouldn't say controversial, but I think maybe we might see Jadon Sancho go back into that number 10 role. Hear me out, all right, before you all slag me in the comments. Well, I wouldn't hear that anyway. Jadon Sancho. I don't think he's been terrible in these last few games. I just think by comparison of the influence that other players are having around him in attacking positions, Martial, Antony, Bruno, Eriksen, they're all impacting games and influencing games a little bit more than Sancho has in his last couple of games. But remember that assist he got against Everton? Sancho, he loves those tight positions. He doesn't seem to be as instinctive when he's squaring up with the defender and he can dribble past them. He seems to want to always cut back inside. It seems like he loves being in tight situations, quick 1-2 passing, nice intricate movement and play. And it's almost like that 10 role suits him a little bit more. And I think we'll see him come in for Bruno Fernandes. It will be a different style of play, but it also, of course, allows this man to come back and play on the left wing, which, in my opinion, is an absolute given in this game. Now, you might say, Sam, hold on. Let's consider whether we should start Marcus Rashford in this game. We don't want to risk him and aggravate an injury, and I agree with that. But if Rashford's training, then Rashford is fit. Whether or not he starts the game is the question. And Ten Hag, we know, prefers to start games with his stronger 11 and take those players off when the game is said and done. And especially after what happened against Sevilla at Old Trafford, he won't want to mess around in this game. So I think we see Rashford start on the left-hand side with Sancho in the number 10. Antony, in my opinion, best performance in the United shirt so far. Really enjoyed him against Nottingham Forest. Not just the goal or the assist, although that does really help, but just the overall influence and positive influence and impact he had on that team. Growing in confidence and, in my opinion, developing. He's showing traits in his game that he wasn't showing 2 months ago. Sometimes drifting on the outside now. Sometimes taking shots on or crosses on with his right foot. Sometimes taking his man on. He's developing. I think he's developing very well. And I think he stays on that right wing. You could, if you wanted to, put Pellistri there. I think Pellistri might come on in the second half. Depends how the game goes. And, of course, there's a question about whether or not you want to start Martial. That's not the question. You want to start Martial. It's whether you feel it will be a risk. Now, Ten Hag called it a risk before the Forest game and he started him. Again, another influential game. Went off after 70. I imagine we'll see the same thing here against Sevilla. And I imagine that's probably... just maintain your fitness, Martial, man. We're a better team with you in. We are. I know it, you know it, everyone knows it. So I think that's going to be the front four. Look at that. A front four there of Martial as a striker with Antony, Rashford and Sancho just behind him. A midfield duo of Casemiro and Eriksen and a back five there of De Gea, Maguire, Lindelof, Shaw and Wan-Bissaka. It's not the perfect back five, but that should be enough. Sevilla are pup, right? They didn't score against us last week. We scored 2 own goals. Madison had a stinker and Harry Maguire was wrong place, wrong time, right off his forehead. They were naff. So we can't be going to Sevilla worrying and thinking, oh, they're better in the Europa League. Sod that. I'm not saying have arrogance, but I'm saying have confidence. Have confidence. And if with that 11, we should be going through to the Europa League semi-final without a shadow of a doubt. They might have beaten Valencia 2-0 at the weekend. And they may be better than the Europa League, but they are in a relegation scrap this season. And this team is better. I think we should be winning 2-1 here. That's my prediction. I don't think it'll be I don't think it'll be a dominant game in the same way it was against Forest, but that team has got enough. Whether or not we've got enough to see out the full 90, whether Rashford's going to play more than, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes, we're going to find out, right? I think Rashford starts. I think Sancho comes in for Bruno. And I think Luke Shaw comes back on the left flank. They're my changes and my predictions 2-1. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. But it is good to see the players back. It's good to see the players smiling. And after that Forest win, we've got a big week. The next 3 games, huge. Probably the 3 biggest games we've got left, right? Up until this point. We've got Sevilla. We beat that. We're in the semi-final against Juve or Sporting. FA Cup semi-final. Beat Brighton. City probably in the final. And that'll be a massive game. And then Spurs away. A game where we know if we win that, we're pretty much secured top 4. Start with Sevilla on Thursday. My prediction's 2-1. You can let me know what your prediction is in the comments below, as you always do. And make sure you subscribe if you're not part of the greatest community in the world. It really, really is.